Okay, welcome back, baseball fans. Doing a couple videos today. Just have some extra time here on a Monday. Have the day off, so I'm going to put up a couple of videos here on the tutorial series. So this next video, I'm going to cover steals in the Master Game. Now, one of the big benefits over the basic game is the ability to call your own steals. So you basic game players out there know, sometimes a situation comes up where you're thinking, like someone would never try to steal like second in a situation. Let's say you're down like a bunch of runs and the guy's maybe not the best base runner. He gets a stolen base, or maybe he gets caught stealing on like a 39 result. With runner on first, and let's say the team's down a lot, it probably wouldn't happen. In other situations, like if you're winning by a lot, you're up by 10, you get some guys like stealing bases like crazy, and you're thinking that just goes against baseball etiquette. So nice thing about the Master Game is you control the whole show so far. For the most part, about 99% of the steals you control here in the Master Game. So one nice thing, now some folks do not enjoy the game engine be telling you when you can and can't do things, but there is a rhyme or reason to this steal allowance chart. So batters you could see are rated up here. Let's look at for example, Bobby Dahlbeck of the Red Sox. So up in the top left here it says STR31. You guys could see that. So that's Dahlbeck's steal allowance letter, as long as this is number rating. So what you do with that is you first look at the letter, which is R, and then you look at the steal allowance chart. So if Dahlbeck is on first base, you want to see if he could steal second. You could see the under R, it says he can only runner on first may steal second. And you look at R, it says only when ahead by 5 runs or more in 9th inning or later. So that'd almost be like a double steal situation, something like that. But that's, think of how rare that situation come up. So you're thinking probably Dahlbeck, he's never going to steal. One thing to think about too, though, is some situations may ask for the first baseman to not hold that runner at first base. So let's say we have DJ LeMay who's playing first for, say, this team, and Dahlbeck's the base runner. If you decide to, for example, play off the bag here and not hold Dahlbeck, then why would you do that? Because on the play result, batter on first, and I might even do a separate video on this. So why would you want to play off the bag in a game? Let's say the out's more important than the base runner, so you're looking just to get outs at the end of a game. Play result 12 can be pretty dangerous for a poor fielding first baseman, or if you're holding a runner. Because since the first baseman is holding that runner, his range is diminished. He can't quite get to those balls hit sharply to the second first base gap there, since he's holding that runner at first. So if you decide to not hold the runner, then you actually get a little more outs here. So you have a better chance of making a play as a first baseman if you play off the bag, obviously. Now, in situations though where you play on the bag, see it says HO, holding on. You can see like on a fielding 3, he gets a play result 12. You can see it's a single to right, where typically a 12 is not a hit number, but if you have a first baseman, depending if he's holding a runner, he's going to let some balls go through there on the right side since his range is diminished. So in this situation, let's say LeMahieu decides to play off the bag, so he can get this play result 12, a better result on his play result 12 if it comes up, which is a very good baseball strategy. What that frees up Dahlbeck to do is any base runner can now go on this situation. So if LeMahieu's not holding him, that means Dahlback can creep out and get a much better lead to second. And if you look at the chart at the bottom, it says any runner with a steal allowance letter of B, C, D, E, F, G, or R may attempt to steal second anytime he's not held on at first. So you can see now our scenario went from R, which was only went ahead by 5 runs or more in 9th inning or later, to now Dahlback can go if he wanted to. So let's resolve that. So we would take the 31. We would then do the move to first adjustment. So the pitchers are moved to first plus 3, which means we're going to knock 3 off of Dahlback's success. So it's 31 goes down 3 to a 28. Grandal's arm is a 3 throw minus 2, which means he's doesn't have a good arm, so he's going to add 2 to Dahlback's chances. So McCullers took 3 away, but Grandal added 2, so it's a net of minus 1. So his steal success is going to be 30 on that one. Now he also gets, in addition to that, he's also going to get a chance. Let me get it pulled up here. Dahlback's steal success is also going to be increased if he's not being held. I just want to double check it here. I think it's 2, but I just want to double check. Yeah, the runner not being held on the bag increases by 2. So he went down 1 to the 30, and he's going to go up 2 because he's not being held. So he's going to be 30 to 32 chances out of 36. So to steal second in that situation, he just have to roll 62 or less. So you see roll 33, so that means Dahlback will be safe at second on the steal. So that would be if LeMahieu was playing out the bag. Now, let's say it was early in the game. Dahlback's at first. All the defensive manager then has to do is call that he is going to hold Dahlback at first base. And if he's holding Dahlback at first base, then he's automatically froze at first. Like there's no chance of him making an attempt to second, because you remember that it reverts back to his regular R rating, which is only went ahead by 5 runs or more in 9th inning or later. So let's say it's the beginning of the game, Dahlback's on first, LeMahieu's holding him. That's going to freeze Dahlback at first base, and he can't not attempt to steal there. And then again, if you decide as a defensive manager, I'm going to play off the bag, I don't care about Dahlback, then he's going to have, you can see a really good steal success chance up to whatever it was, like 32, to get to second base. So you can see all you have to do with these high steal guys, the high letters, is just call that you're going to hold the runner at first. Now, let's take a look at some other guys here. Let's say LeMahieu's playing first. Let's look at F24, Rhys Hoskins. Now, usually these F guys, they can't typically go until the says this only with 2 outs and behind by 1 run, tied, or in the 7th inning or later. So you say, well, what if I want to send Rhys Hoskins earlier on in the game? One thing the F still allows you to do is hit and run. So these guys with the F rating are usually really good guys to hit and run with. Like, so if he's on first base, he's a good guy to send over to send on like hit and run. So E28, now E's are typically, they can go if the game is close and it's 2 outs. So those guys can go on E's. Now the A's are really the guys that can go, they're the guys that attempted the most steals. So let's say LeMahieu's on first, Mondesi, or LeMahieu's playing first, Mondesi's on first base. He's at A32. So let's do our, so A's can actually go anytime. They can steal second anytime they want, you could see. So let's do the calculation for Mondesi, then we'll try to steal second and then home as well. And then we're also going to look at the pitching from the stretch and the windup for the if he gets to third base. Okay, so let's try to steal. So A32. So we're going to subtract 3 from McCullers moved to first. He's a lefty. Obviously, he's looking right at him. So he's good at holding runners. So he's going to knock Mondesi down to a 29. And then Grandal, because of his weak arm, is going to increase his chance by 2. So he's going to go up to 31. So Mondesi's chance of stealing there is he has to his 31 chance of 36. Let's hope we get there. Okay, 63, he's out. So he will be out in that situation because you need to roll 61 or less. So Mondesi gets thrown out. And then you have to roll on the drop throws. See if the guy held on to the ball. So you get 1 die, it's a 2. And 2 dies are 44. So you look at 245. And you can see it says second baseman 7. So in this case, let's say who was a batter. Let's say it was JD Martinez. So that'd be the short. The second baseman will be making a play. So if the second baseman was a 7 or more, or a 7, he would have dropped the ball. So let's just say he was safe at second. You try to steal third. So stealing third depends on the batting handedness of the batter. So let's say Martinez is a righty. Mondesi's at second. So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract 5. First check and see if he can steal third. So only with less than 2 outs right here. So let's say it is less than 2. Let's say there's nobody out here and Martinez is at the plate. So Mondesi he can attempt to steal third here. So what we're going to do in that case is we're going to automatically subtract 5 from his rating. Now, if he was, let's see, a lefty, so it's a lot easier. He's subtracting 5. If he's a righty, he subtracts 5 from righties, 7 from lefties. So Martinez is a lefty. So he's subtracting 7 from his chances. And the reason why it's different from lefty or righties, you could see the catcher doesn't have a good view with a right-handed batter, this guy trying to steal third, which is kind of a neat thing about the Master Game. So he has less chance of throwing him out. So if he was a righty. So if he's a righty, he subtracts 5. He's on lefty, he's subtracting 7, or righty, he's subtracting 7. So it's 5 off of it. I'm sorry, 7 off of it, 5 off of it. And it's 5 because he's like I say, he's blocking his view there. So okay, so let's put Mondesi at second, Martinez at the plate. So let's now you're not going to do any move to first here because there is no move to first rating to second base because that only applies to first. So all you're going to factor in is that adjustment for going to third. Okay, so he's a left-hander, so it's -7, so it'll be 32 minus 7. 25, then we're going to add that +2 for Grandal, so it goes up to 27. So he has a good chance of stealing third here, 27 or less. So 27 chances. She rolls a 25, and he's safe at third. Okay, so Monty's on third. Let's say Martinez is still at the plate. Now, we have an interesting situation since Mondesi is now third base, nobody out. McCullers is on the mound. We're going to have a possible steal of home. So we're going to look at our situations again. So back on the board. So let's say we want to try to steal home. So he's an A. So only with 1 or 2 outs. Now since he's able to steal at home, one decision the defensive team can make is, and this is a really kind of an obscure Master Game rule, not a lot of guys probably use it. It probably only can be used effectively in a face-to-face environment, but he could actually nullify this guy's ability to steal home by declaring that he's going to pitch from the stretch. So if you remember the windup, think of the old 50s pitchers, winding up, putting their arm over their, slinging their arm over their, or hands over their head and rearing back and firing in. That's a windup. Think of the stretch as when the pitcher has his shoulder, he's actually pointing his shoulder towards the plate, and all he's doing is stepping and throwing in an attempt to shorten his motion to give the runners less time to steal bases. So you could decide to pitch from the stretch, and then what that does, that nullifies his ability to steal. It'll totally cancel his ability to steal from home. But if you just, and one downside to that is it does decrease McCullers' grade by 2. So he would go from a 13, which is like a solid B, to an 11. So he would actually go from, with Martinez being -0 on lefties, he would go from being a 13 down to 11, which is like a C pitcher. So he would go from like a B to a C just because Mondesi's on third here if you're pitching from the stretch. Now the plus though is he would nullify that steal. So how do you steal? So let's say he does try to steal. So let's say McCullers says, all right, I'm just going to pitch from the windup. I don't care about Mondesi at third base, and I'm going to leave it open for a steal. So how do you resolve a steal of home? So what you do is you have to subtract 15 from Mondesi's 32, which would give him 17. So he almost has a 50-50 chance of getting home there. So if you have like a really low batting average batter, for example, you may want to consider this move. So he'd have to roll a 17 or, let's see, 17, 35 or less to steal home. 41, so he'd be caught stealing in that situation. So that's an example of stealing second, stealing third, stealing home. One thing with that decision on the stretch and the windup is, that's sometimes you have to roll dice or something. So if you're playing like a solo replay, you would like to just maybe roll some dice and try to decide what's that manager playing. Which I've had a couple replays where I've called steals from home, and I usually roll a dice roll just to call like whether or not that manager is playing, deciding to pitch from the stretch or pitch from the windup. Now this doesn't come up in a whole. The ability to steal home doesn't come up a whole lot. So you could see on a stealing home, it's very rare, only with 2 outs behind by 1 in 7th or less. So usually only the A through E guys can attempt steals. But if you have like an FGRN, so you could say it's never. So if you're like an FGRN type stealer, you're not going to ever be able to attempt to steal home. So you will never make that decision to like pitch from the stretch or the windup. So that's just covering steals a little bit. Like I said, it's a nice part of the game because, like I said, you control the whole motion, whether guys steal second, third, home, how many, whatever base they steal. If you want to call off steals because you're behind, or if you want to like increase your steal temps because maybe you're close, or it's maybe a very difficult pitcher, you could do that. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and have a good evening. Talk to you later. Bye.